They come to the top of the lane. Stop Shopping Maria's got a lot left. Stop Shopping Maria goes on. Sweet Cat is right there. Hard Not to Like. Royal Body is running on. Past the 8 ball way comes. Stop Shopping Maria. Fuller run still under a hand ride as they come to the 16. Stephanie's Kitten coming out late. Here's Stephanie's Kitten coming fast. Stephanie's Kitten. Stop Shopping Maria. Stephanie's Kitten's water. Watched her chances, broke smartly, but so did Terra from the Cape. On the inside, Sky Lantern, the grey going well. If he can get through, Sky Lantern, the grey looking for somewhere to run. Wide open. It's Terra from the Cape hanging on. Terra from the Cape tries to go all the way. On the outside now, here comes Flotilla in the light blue. Flotilla is absolutely flying. Watch the chances in there too. But Flotilla has gone right on by. And Flotilla is coming home to score. Flotilla has won it just about 2 in the end. It'll be Watch the Chances, Summer of Fun coming on to finish third.
Live from the backstretch at Saratoga, this is the Handicappers Report. The Handicappers Report is brought to you by Pennell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. The new Capital OTB wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with the new Capital OTB wagering platform. And CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State.
Good morning and welcome to the Handicappers Report. A little wet and wild Sunday morning here at Saratoga. Opening weekend, we'll wrap it up here today. It's rainy here outside our studio here by the 7 furlong chute, and we're off the turf today. We know that already because obviously we got lucky yesterday. The rains held off for the most part, a little deluge during the card, just briefly, and then they held off nicely, luckily. But today we are off the turf. We anticipate more rain coming, so take note of that. I don't have a main track condition for you, but as I was driving over here, it looked like it was going to be sealed and sloppy, muddy, some kind of sort of way of that. So we're off the turf today. That's obviously going to play in. Check the website and all that kind of stuff. Twitter as well. I'll have one sheet selection. Scratches will be aplenty today, but we're wrapping it up here on opening weekend, and it was another great day of racing yesterday. If you missed it, the gals from Godolphin ran 1-2 again in the Diana. We'll bring that up in a second, but Summer Romance got run down late, and Charlie Appleby comes over and wins another grade 1. Ran 1-2 in the Just a Game, and they run 1-2 in the Diana. And then Wit looks like a really exciting prospect for Todd Pletcher. I sent a text to a good friend, and I don't know. Here it is here in the Diana. Thank you, Bri. So there's Summer Romance on the engine here. And Althea is going to run her down again. The two grays with the blue, the royal blue of Godolphin. Summer Romance doing the dirty work. She ran huge, but you can't take anything away from the winner because she spotted her about 5 lengths off the far turn, and here she comes running her down again. Manny Franco gets a grade 1 here at Saratoga. Well done there. And yikes! Right now, I mean, I guess they're. If they're not the 2 best grass fillies in the country, I don't know who is, but they did it in the Just a Game, and they run 1-2 again in the Diana. And we'll pull up the Sanford, what I was alluding to earlier. I don't really know what it means on July 17th, but wow, Witt is one heck of a 2-year-old right now, and he's supposed to run longer. He's got this little bit of a penchant of spotting his rivals several lengths early. Here you're going to see it here, ranging up on the far turn and just, you know, blowing this 8 lengths, I believe, was the margin. He blew the start on debut, and he won for fun for Todd Pletcher, but obviously stepping way up here in the Sanford, and headline report for Wesley Ward ran yesterday and ran very, very well, but whipped by 8. Here you see it here, drawing off for fun. And you know, I've always said, and I firmly believe this, when you see 2-year-olds running like that and winning like that from off the pace in June and July of their 2-year-old season, it really bodes well. And I would probably say for about the last 5 to 7 years, the program shifted a little bit for Todd Pletcher. And sure, he's still winning with horses on debut, and sometimes they're just better than the rest. But I would say in the last 5 to 7 years, Todd has really aimed more towards having, you know, horses that are going to run on at 3, as opposed to running off at 2. And so to see Witt do that was really impressive. I would think now Todd will maybe back off a little bit, and we'll see him in the hopeful on closing day. I don't know. I didn't read the quotes afterwards. If you know, the Saratoga Special is front and center in the middle of the meet. That's the progression. Sanford Special, hopeful. We'll see what happens. But yikes, we're going to have to see a really, really good 2-year-old to better Witt right now, because he was awesome again yesterday. I don't know how fast he ran, but you know, you saw it right there. It doesn't matter what the number was. He looked great and winning. So, you know, Todd is off and running, trying to defend that trainer's title that I think we kind of sort of were a little bit surprised that he won with yesterday. The other one was Bo Liam yesterday. Just threw it down in the lane in that 1X race. Race 8, I believe, yesterday was just awesome for Steve Asmussen, winning in a 1X that probably had maybe 3, 4, 5 graded stakes winners in it. So he looked really, really good. He did all the dirty work with Whittle coming at him, and he fended him off. So kudos to him. He's another horse that kind of has that Yapan look that Steve, you know, showed Yapan last year, and he won an allowance, and then he went and won the Amsterdam, I believe, and Bo Liam, excuse me, now looks like he might be one of those too. So, you know, the card was awesome yesterday, and the racing, you know, so far has just been so strong. I think it's been buoyed a little bit by the fact that these Kentucky connections have been forced to vacate Churchill Downs with they're building a new turf course. So barns that were here normally are now here that much more, and the racing this summer is just going to be tremendous. So we've seen it. We have another great card today. Unfortunately, we're off the turf today, but it is what it is. It's summer in Saratoga. It was a great Saturday yesterday, so I guess we'll get right into it. The 105 opener is a state-bred maiden special weight, 2-year-olds here, New York breds. We go 5.5. In race 1, and again, we're off the turf. Check the track conditions. We'll see. I think it's going to be some sort of sealed main track to kick off the day, and I know the rains. It's kind of spitting now, and I know the reason I think they took them off the turf already is because it's supposed to rain. I'm looking 50-60% for the majority of the day, so we'll see how it shakes out. We're off the turf. We know that going forward. 5-7-3 for me in the opener, and I mentioned Todd Pletcher with the 2-year-olds, and I think, you know, Mischief Mogul is probably a runner. B, I didn't see a lot in here either, and you don't see too many New York bred into Mischiefs, if at all. And this is a perfect outside attack post here. The works don't jump off the page, but, you know, as I kind of alluded to when I was talking about Witt a little bit, you know, I don't necessarily think that's the MO of Todd anymore. It's a little more patience, but I think Mischief Mogul is probably pretty good. And at least up to this point, I'm not seeing a lot in this field. And again, this is a major pedigree for a New York bred. We're into Mischief out of any given Saturday. mare. Irad Ortiz is here. Plenty of works here locally at the Oklahoma track. So I would think you're going to get a very, very short price on Mischief Mogul, and he looks pretty good to me. In the opener underneath number 7, Shipsational for Eddie Barker. And I know Dave Gretting wrote a good story with the Racing Form the other day, and he was kind of alluding to all the 2-year-olds that are up here, and he talked to Todd, talked to Chad, and Steve Asmussen, and that. And it was a good story because he talked to some kind of out-of-the-box guys, too, and Eddie Barker was one of them. He said, you know, I've got some pretty decent 2-year-olds, I feel like, up here, too. So Shipsational outside, Luis Saez, for my money, I mean, he's as good as there is. He doesn't ride for any barns, like the Ortiz brothers have Chad, and they ride for Todd now, and Joel Rosario's in barns, rides a lot for Bill Mott. And Luis Saez is kind of doing it the hard way, and he's just, I think he's great. And Kieran McLaughlin, former trainer, and now his agent, has done a really, really good job. And so he's here on Shipsational. I like this outside post as well. Tab the tote in this race too, because we saw it yesterday with the Shadwell horse with Todd in that brutal 1X. Opened up at 6-1. He was 5-2 morning line favorite, and I think David Aragona had a good morning line there. I'm not questioning that, but he was like 6-1 through the majority of the betting, just completely DOB. And betting matters up here, especially in these 2-year-old races. So tab the tote here. You don't want to see Mischief Mogul at 5-2. That would be a terrible sign. He should be odds on here, I think. And if Shipsational, conversely, if Shipsational is taking money, I think that's a great sign too. Underneath Silver Samurai he ran okay on debut for Kelly Breen, a second with a slow number, but Kelly won at 9-10-1 on the turf yesterday. He had the good-looking 2-year-old New York bred that won on Friday. So Kelly does a great job, and he's very steeped at Monmouth Park, but he does a great job, and he's been up here winning races. So Silver Samurai in third for me, but I think he's a cut below. It's exciting to see what Mischief Mogul can do, because I think he's probably all right. So early pick 5 in the opener, 5-7-3 for me. On to race 2. Now we're off the turf, and as my good buddy and colleague Anthony Mormino and I always say, we're not only handicapping the horses, we're handicapping who's running. So you got to check the scratches today, as we are off the turf here in race 2. Early pick 4 time. If you are not in the loop and you don't have the Capital OTB Bets account amped up and ready to fire, the pools have been ginormous. The early pick 5 has almost usurped the late pick 5, I believe. They're basically getting the same amount of handle, well over $1 million in both of them yesterday. Best bet in racing, this is early pick 4 time here in race 2, so fire on the OTB account, because the pools have been huge. You're getting overlays, you're getting bigger than the parlay. 6-8-7 for me in race 2, and this is a $75,000 maiden claimer. We will now go a mile and an eighth on the main track, because these are older. So we're off the turf. We'll go a mile and an eighth on the main track. $75,000 maiden claimer. So 6-8-7 for me. Mystical Man takes the big drop for Al Stahl, and he's basically only run on the main track. So, that bodes well here. He was a really good fourth last time. 82 buyer, going to stretch back out to 2 turns. Al's poised to have a good meet up here. I think he's going to run Masquerade in the Jim Dandy against Essential Quality, and man, he's a really up and coming second half 3-year-old. He ran off the screen on Derby weekend at Churchill, winning a 1X, and then just won the Indiana Derby, I believe. So Al's going to run him up here in the Jim Dandy, and Al does a great job in Kentucky throughout. I saw him at Fairgrounds this winter, and he does a great job. And I think Mystical Man, now that we know this race is on the main track, is really going to get all the best of it here, because, like I said, he did run on turf on debut, but his last 4 against better in the maiden special weight ranks at Churchill, all 4 of them at Churchill, were solid, and now he comes in third off the elongated layoff, back to 2 turns. I think the all systems go angle for Man in Columbine Stable, one of Al's top clients. Number 8, Amano, another one. Here's Chad, first time gelding. Now, he has not run before on the main track, so that's a little worrisome. He hasn't been out since October at Belmont. That is not worrisome when you're talking about Chad Brown, because he's 25% off this layoff. And I know with Seth and Anthony and Mike Callahan, regardless, we've all kind of said it. It's almost, is it a positive when you get these horses off the layoff for Chad? He probably could have run at Belmont. This one was stable at Monmouth, but Chad's just got so many horses. He's got a string at Monmouth, obviously Belmont, here up in Saratoga. Amano now, I'm sure there was a race that he could have run in, but no, here he is at Saratoga. I think that's a good sign. Comes back as a first-time gelding. He's by Temple City out of a caller ID mare. I'm not familiar with the bottom of this pedigree, but Temple City's certainly on top. Says he can dirt. So I would think he's a big player in here as well. And then Group Hug for Mike Maker has been another one that's been doing the dirt thing. Hasn't really run on turf. He's run once on turf. But so Mike's got him in here. I would assume he's going to run too, because, like I said, he's another one that's predominantly run on the main track. And Group Hug with Tyler Gaffalione, if you're not in the loop there, Tyler's just been streaking in Kentucky, and he's more than holding his own up here in New York. So 6, 8, 7. I don't know a lot about race 2. I do know it will be run on the main track. It will be off the turf, as all the races are today. As is race 3, it's an entry-level allowance race. Fillies and mares 3 and up. State breds will sprint now a snappy 5.5 on the main track, and just a typical 1:16.9 for me. Breakfast Bonnie's, I would think, is in a good spot up here. Danny Gargan ran well yesterday, second on the turf. Excuse me. This one is MTO, so obviously gets, should theoretically get all the best of it, facing some horses that wanted to run on the turf. Breakfast at Bonnie's gets to run on the main track. She's only run twice. Ran off the screen in the mud on her debut by over 11. So, you would think she's going to handle this sloppy, muddy, regardless of what the track condition is. She's going to handle it very, very well. Was a distant and kind of a, I guess we'll say, shocking third, facing winners last time at 1-5 in a 6-horse field. Sped off early and tired late, and I don't really have much of an excuse for it. It wasn't like she was dueling, wasn't like she was going that fast, and Danny struggled a little bit. To be honest, he didn't have a huge Belmont like he's used to, or like he had a big Gulfstream Park meet. He was off the board the other day, I think at 6-5, in a horse that he claimed a little bit. So I do think you want to tread lightly until this barn starts winning races up here. But I do think Breakfast at Bonnie's as an MTO, and what we figure will be probably no pun intended, a watered down field today, I think will be very, very tough to beat. The rail's not ideal, but I think Breakfast at Bonnie's at the end of the day probably a little too much for these. Honey Money, conversely, all the way outside for Wayne Potts. She won last time at the Flakes and looked good doing it. Is going to have to step up here. Is going to have to run faster, but this is the right outside attack post, and she won't be that wide, again, because we'll have several scratches in here. So Honey Money, Wayne's done a good job with her off the claim, 2 for 2. She's now won 3 straight overall since he snagged this one from Jonathan Thomas 3 back. 2 for 2 off the claim for Wayne. So I think she's a major player in here as well. And then number 9, Snicket, who does have some main track form for Christophe Clement. She has run on the turf 3 starts in a row. But last winter at Aqueduct, Belmont, you see it right here at Saratoga as well. She's got some pretty solid main track form, not quite as good as Breakfast at Bonnie's, but I would think Christophe will leave her in here. Her turf races haven't been that good either, so I know she wasn't an MTO, but maybe he was kind of hoping a little bit that this one would come off. So in the off the turf race 3, 1:16.9 for me. Bring us to our first break here on the Sunday Handicappers Report. When we come back, we'll get in the middle of Saratoga Card. Stay tuned.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Where's the best place to find your favorite teams, your favorite food, daily drink specials, and wagering on live horse racing? Legends Field Sports Bar, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Get your game on day or night with 75 flat-screen TVs, tournament-style pool tables, a private banquet room, and live horse racing. So if someone asks you, where's the best sports bar in the capital region? Tell them Legends Field Sports Bar, inside the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
Welcome back to the Sunday Handicappers Report. Brian Nadeau with you here. And a little wet. I don't think it's raining right now as I look out from the tent, but we are off the turf today. So obviously it rained last night here. Luckily we got in the big card yesterday without any issues. The Diana in Sanford as well. But we're off the turf today. So take note of that. I don't have a main track condition. Driving over here today, it looked like it was sealed. So I'm assuming we're going to be sloppy and good, sealed or muddy. Yeah, I don't see a condition yet, but we're going to have a lot of scratches. Check the website, check Twitter. I'll update the one sheet, but yeah, I'm going to have a little work cut out for me when I get out of here today, because I think we're going to lose a lot of horses. Unfortunately, not raining right now, but they anticipate it a little bit later of the day, so I think they on the Sunday, the back end of opening weekend, they'll get ahead of the curve a little bit off the turf today. Race 4 is a starter allowance, $50,000 starter allowance. Fillies and mares 3 and up, 9 furlongs on the main track. This was scheduled for the main track. 6-2-7 for me. Honor Hop for Brian Lynch. Gets back to the dirt. Now ran pretty well last time on the turf against better. It was an entry level allowance at Churchill, you know, big money allowance there, and she set the pace early, tired a little bit late, but I think she's got solid enough dirt form. This is a significant, to me, class drop. There's not a lot in here either, and if you can get 3-1 on this morning line, that would be very, very healthy, because Misty Vale, I've got her in second. She's favored at 5-2 on the morning line, but I think outside here, with tactical speed, I think Honor Hop is in a really, really good spot. Put her on top. I mentioned Misty Vale underneath for Tom Amos, who seems to be off to a good start. He won with a 2-year-old the other day. Tom had a huge Churchill Downs meet. Had a big fairgrounds meet, obviously, but I think the horses. Tom is one of these Kentucky guys now that, you know, are going to be stabled here more prevalently with the fact that Churchill is now closed as they renovate that turf course, and a lot of those Kentucky barns, as I mentioned, kind of had to get out of Dodge, so to speak. So Tom brought a big string up here, and I think he's going to be loaded for bear this summer, so you definitely have to pay attention, especially if his 2-year-olds. He won the other day with Joel for one of his big owners, Joel Politi. So I'll put Misty Vale underneath. Maggie Moss is probably Tom's biggest client, so they do a very, very good job in these kind of ranks. Put her underneath in second, and then Poncho Song in third for our buddy Mark Hennig. Mark, you're watching. Can you give us a main track condition? We love Mark, and he does a really good job. And this one's outside. Now, you don't want to be too far outside here, going 9 furlongs on the Saratoga main track. Not a lot of speed from Poncho Song either, and it's still early in the meet, so I think it's noteworthy to mention that you do not want to give up too much ground going along on the main track here. It's just you wake up on the far turn and you're 5 behind and you just can't get there. So, you know, I think that Poncho Song can run well in here, but her lack of tactical speed is a major issue, because she's been dropping out the back of late, and that is not a recipe for success on the main track. So 6-2-7 for me. Saratoga Race 4. On to the 5th. It's is it a split division? It is a split division of the maiden special weight that kicks off the card. State bred 2-year-olds, again 5.5. Like I said, split division, so you can compare the times if you want. Mischief Mogul as I mentioned in the opener, looks pretty good for Todd. I don't know if there's any Mischief Moguls in here. With that being said, Hot Rod Rumble, 2561 for me on the one sheet. Hot Rod Rumble for Steve Asmussen, Ricardo Santana. Looks pretty good. They paid a big number for this one. A son of Midnight Storm, who I'm not really familiar with as a sire, but they paid a big number for this one. The works kind of whisper ready. Steve, 17% on debut. I kind of think maybe he's a tad better second out, but as we saw yesterday with Chat-A-Lot, won that 2-year-old race. You know, Steve he's got him ready to run up here. I think that was his 22nd 2-year-old winner this year already, and you know, it's July 18th today, so that is a big, big number. Hot Rod Rumble, it looks like has been working forwardly for this. Main man Ricardo Santana is here. As I mentioned, Steve is 17% on debut. Plenty of works. They don't necessarily whisper ready, but they're solid enough, and I would think, because I'll talk about a few others in here, but I would think today that maybe Hot Rod Rumble with that big purchase price as a 2-year-old in training is ready to roll. Put him on top. Number 5, Lil Stevie for Brittany Russell, and bullets in the holster here down at Pimlico. Gate drills as well, which can be a little worrisome, back-to-back gate drills, but certainly looks like he could be precocious too. Both of them are bullets, a son of Bustin' Stones for a guy. Roddy doesn't own this one, but obviously did own Bustin' Stones. They paid $40 for this one, so that's a pretty big number for a Bustin' Stones. Like I said, bullets in the holster. Irad Ortiz is here too, so I think that's, you know, very, very noteworthy. Brittany Russell, 26% on debut. If you're not familiar with her, 36% with 2-year-olds as well. If you're not familiar with her, she does a tremendous job in the Mid-Atlantic, and she's kind of come up to Belmont a little bit this spring and summer, and is trying to make end roads here, but this is a New York bred, so obviously going to run here for $85,000. That's awesome. So Little Stevie, I would think, is very, very live today. Cozy's Attitude for Charlie Baker, and here's back-to-back bullets here as well. Joel Rosario is here. That's great too, but Charlie does a great job. Winning on debut is not part of the plan, and he's just 1 for 26 with firsters. So I would think Cozy's Attitude can run a little bit. Let's probably get him later in the meet at 7 furlongs, maybe stretching out a little bit. 6 furlongs is Son of Bellamy Road, so out of a broken vow mare. So you would think the longer the better. I would assume he'll be running on late, but 5.5 today on debut on July 18th is probably a little too sharp for Cozy's Attitude. Like I said, let's get him later in the meet for Charlie Baker. I think this is the stronger division of this race, even though Mischief Mogul is probably a good thing in the opener. I think the depth of this race, Clement's got a runner down inside on the rail. I would think the depth of this race, all said and done, is better than the opener. And it could be a key race in the making. There's a lot going on here, and I think these are horses to remember the name. I mean, look at Disengage. He ran against Open at Belmont last time. Now drops back in. I think we're going to lose the 7 with the issue at the barn for Kenny McPeak, that quarantine issue. But it's a good one here in race 5. This kicks off the pick 6, which has been big balloons at the meet already. 2-5-6-1 on the one sheet for me in the 6th. In the 5th, race 6. Kicks off the late pick 5, and if you weren't here at the start of the program, man, they are sending it in on these pick 5s. It's the best bet in racing. I've said it for years and years, and they're getting over $1 million in these pools, early and late. They even snuck in a middle one yesterday on the big card, but this is the late pick 5. Now, we know we're off the turf here, okay? And these are older. I think we're going to go out to 9 furlongs again. It's off the turf. Everything is off the turf today, kicking off this late pick 5. So again, we're handicapping the race. We're also handicapping who we think is going to be in here. This is a $50,000 claimer, 3-year-olds and up. I go 10-2-1 Free enterprise for Chad is an MTO. I think that bodes well. I think that's always a good sign in these off the turf races. He does drop in class. He's in for a tag off a total no-show at Belmont last time, so that's worrisome. There's no doubt about it, but you know, Chad wants to win the trainer's title. He's got owners, Seth Klarman. They're not afraid to drop horses to A, win races, B, get him out of the barn, come claim me. I've got a better one ready to take the stall. So I think Free Enterprise on the MTO angle is a big player in here. I would not want to take a short number on him, though, because he was just dreadful last time at Belmont. He has not been in for a tag before. Chad's run him in stakes races. Obviously, he's come off the bridle a little bit of late. I mean, this is a horse that was 9-5 favored in the Grade 3 Hooper at Gulfstream in January, and he was 9th that day without a viable excuse, and now he's kind of come off the rails a little bit. Now he's in for 50. I would think in a scratch down field, he's probably going to be better than these, but tread very lightly. He's not a single to me to start this sequence. I wouldn't want to play him to win. I pick him on top. I'll have to see what the scratch is. Mr. MTO, as my good buddy Joe Christofek likes to say, Tom Amos does a great job spotting these MTOs in races off the turf. So he's got Glory Road in here. Claim this one from Mark Sims at Churchill. And I'm not familiar with Mark Sims, and I don't want to, there's no disrespect to Mark Sims, but Tom's going to move this horse up, okay? So this horse disappointed at 8-5 at Churchill last time for 30, but Tom claims him and runs him for 50 today. That's a great sign. Tom, 20% off the claim. And as I mentioned, he does a great job. And oh, by the way, this horse is 1-for-1 at Saratoga. No one reads a condition book better than Tom Amos. He sees that. Hey, let's claim this one for 30. We've got races up at Saratoga that we can run in. My horse is 1-for-1 over the track. Glory Road, I would think fires a big shot today. Now down inside for Robert Trask. Is Fast Break for the pink and yellow of Mike Dubb. Rob's going to take over from Brittany Russell. Does a great job. High percentage barn. He's 23% first time into the barn. He's very adept at moving horses up. Fast Break, another MTO. He's probably going to have to see it out as the inside speed under Ricardo Santana. But that's not a bad thing, because just I'm looking through this race, and regardless of who stays and regardless of who goes, Fast Break should be the controlling speed in here. That's a good thing. We'll see how the track plays. You got to take note of it, how the track plays. We're off the turf. I think it's going to be sealed in some way, shape, or form. But Fast Break, as potentially controlling speed, is going to have a big shot as well. 10-1 in race 6, kicking off the late pick 5. It'll bring us to our second break here on the Handicappers Report. When we come back, late pick 4 time on a wet Sunday here at Saratoga. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the West. I'm Scott Varley at Saratoga's latest and greatest high-rise luxury condo. Starting in the mid-5s, every condo here has 2 bedrooms and 2 baths and upgrades just like this. Check out these oversized private balconies. We also have a gym, a private lounge, and get this, a heated parking garage. To make a reservation for your private condo at the West, call or text me. I'm Scott Varley at 518-281-6808.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Oops.
My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Welcome back to the Sunday Handicappers Report. Brian Nadeau with you on a wet Sunday morning here at Saratoga. If you're a little bit late to the party, we are off the turf today, okay? So take note of that. There's several races we're scheduled for the green stuff. We are off the turf today. We're going to have a lot of scratches. We'll update on the website, the one sheet, Twitter, all that kind of good stuff. But we know we're off the turf today. We've gotten through 6 here, late pick 4 time. We're going to lose the Coronation Cup, too. Well, that's surprising to me. That they didn't try to keep that one together, but we'll get to that in a second. But the good news is the late pick 4 has 3 of the 4 races were on the main track. So that bodes well for the sequence. I don't think we'll lose that, many. And the fact that the Coronation Cup, the feature, I would think several will stay in as well. We had 10 entered, only 1 MTO, so that's surprising they took that off, but I know it rained pretty good overnight as well, and they're expecting rain throughout the day. Anywho, the 7th is a really good maiden special weight. Fillies and mares 3 and up. We go 7 on the main track. Always was supposed to be on the main track. I took a little shot, 519 for me. Big City Mama for Shug and Don Adams, Cortland's Farm. Main man Jose Ortiz is here. The debut wasn't much. A distant third on debut, but we know Shug's not a guy that cranks him too much. It was in May. I don't view this as a layoff. It's been 2.5 months. I don't think in 2021, if you're looking at the racing form, I don't think there should be a line here. I don't feel that's a layoff. To me, 3 to 4 months is now a layoff in this world we're living in when no one likes to run horses. So I think Big City Mama, I like the debut as an experience builder. The Lasix goes on today. I think that's significant. And I would have, I'm sure there were spots Shug could have run at Belmont, but here she pops at Saratoga on opening weekend for $100,000. I think that's a good sign. She's a daughter of Quality Road. They paid $700,000 for her. Out of a big brown mare. That's a big number. So they obviously like her, or liked her, I should say. And she showed a little bit in the debut. The winner ran off the screen that day by 11. So there's nothing wrong with the debut. And I would think with Lasix, the experience, a little bit of added ground as well. Maybe we get an all systems go angle with Big City Mama, and we get a little bit of a price too. Let's put her on top. Equal pay down inside for Chad. Now this is that one that was going to win on debut, and I don't really know what happened, if she saw a shadow or what have you, but she kind of freaked in mid-stretch, and she threw Irad Ortiz, and that was ultimately led for him. I think missed a couple weeks. He couldn't ride Belmont weekend, all those big mounts, and his brother and others had a lot of good catch rides that weekend. But Equal Pay is back, and she's legitimately something to 5 if she behaves herself. But I do think that's a little bit of an elephant in the room, in that, I mean, leaves a bad taste in your mouth, doesn't it, on debut? So I've got her in second. I think she's a must-use A if you're playing this late 5 and late pick 4 to kick off here in race 7. But I would not want to take too short of a number on her, because that's still something to me that is in the back of my mind, that she's got to run straight and true and proper. And sometimes until you do it, you've got to take note of that. So it's Chad, it's Seth Klarman, it's Irad. She's going to be very, very tough if she's got her mind on running. But again, you saw the debut. I would tread a little bit lightly here. Outside to Perfect Grace for Ralph Nix. 2 solid races at Gulfstream, 2 solid seconds. She's going to come up here for the big money now. In both of those races, especially from this outside attack post with her tactical speed that she showed on debut, I think puts her in the mix here. She's a major player, and I think you probably have to put her as an A as well. We've talked about this, Anthony Mormino and I, on Racing Across America on Thursday. We're kind of incorporating some ticket construction and these pick fives in a little bit. I think she's got to be used as an A in here because both of those races were big. The winner last time came right back to win. She fits on figures, 75, 77, if those are your cup of tea. And I like this post as well. She even cuts back a little bit from that one-turn mile at Gulfstream. We'll go 5-1-9 and a very good special weight here to kick off this late pick 4. Race 8, we're on the main track as well. We always were. It's a state bred optional claimer for fillies and mares, 3 and up, 6 furlongs, as I mentioned, on the main track. 3, 7, 6, 8 for the one-sheet selections for me. Pleasure Luck, I mentioned our buddy Mark Hennig earlier. Now, he had a horse earlier without a lot of speed. Pleasure Luck's got plenty of it. Very, very tactical to sit the right kind of trip in here. She broke through the 1X ranks last time, so this is a rise in class, and she's going to have to step up, and facing better is never easy. But I like what she brings to the table. Mark's done a good job. She's hit the board in all 6 starts of her career. She's still very lightly raced. She's got a lot of upside as well. And I mentioned the tactical speed is going to allow her to sit the right kind of outside stalking trip. Pleasure Luck, if she runs that race back with that big number she ran last time, she's going to be really, really tough in here. And I think, this 3-1 morning line is probably, unless we lose some with the scratches, I would think it's probably going to hold because there's a lot of different ways you can go in here. Number 7, Betsy Blue, I've got underneath. Linda Rice claimed this one for $450 from George Weaver. 3 back. She wins a 50 starter, and then she wins the Bowery last time. State bred 3-year-old. Now, she's stepping up today, facing older, but no bolt. She's run 3 times in a row on off tracks. Muddy, sloppy, muddy. We're going to be one way or the other, muddy or sloppy today. 3 for 3 on an off track. So she is really going to move up on this surface today. Now, with that being said, the figures she's been running are not that fast. So she's still going to have to step up today and answer the bell. But she really gets all the best of it on what we know will be a very, very wet racetrack today. Betsy Blue, major, major player. Timely Tradition for Ray Handel, who does a very good job. He's going to win a lot of races up here this summer. She didn't fire last time, but that was an open optional claimer at Belmont. And Ray's done a good job with her. She's been in a lot of different places, predominantly running against open companies. So she's really going to appreciate the class drop here today. In with state breds, Joel Rosario is aboard. I think that bodes well. Yes, she didn't fire last time, and she was pretty bad last time, but she kept her speed, which I like. It's not like she didn't show speed and then didn't run. She still showed speed early, tired late. This is a significant, significant class drop. Optional claimers at Belmont into state breds today. So I would think Timely Tradition gets back on the beam a little bit, but it was a real dud last time, and she's held her form before that. So tread lightly. I'll mention Awesome Debate as well. Danny Gargan off the claim. Danny's upwards of 40% off the claim, but, I mentioned it earlier. I need to see this barn win some races up here. Like I said, he was a dreadful 5th or 6th the other day at 3-2 off the claim. He did not have a strong Belmont and didn't run a lot of horses at Belmont. I am taking a wait and see approach with this barn at the meet until he starts winning races. I put Autumn Debate underneath. The 9th, late double time, the Coronation Cup, we're off the turf. So that's a real monkey wrench in this 3-year-old filly stakes race. We're going to go 5.5 on the main track for $120,000 now. Who's staying? Who's going? I don't know. I guarantee you Mischieful is running, though, for Ian Wilkes, and she's probably going to be heck to pay in here. 298 for me. She's run 5 times in her career. She's hit the exacta in 4 of them. She's run 2 of them, and she's never run on the turf. So I know she's not an MTO, but I know certainly over here on my right shoulder, Ian Wilkes is not complaining that they took this race off the turf. Mischieful ran off last time at Churchill with a huge number. She's got speed. She can keep it going. She's going to be in front for as long as she can go today, and it's probably going to be all 5.5 furlongs because she's very, very good. Ian's done a very good job with her. And I don't know how many will lose because there are horses with main track form in here. Mystiful's going to be really, really tough. Number 9, Farsighted for Rusty Arnold. Got me a win yesterday in my trainer's pool. Thank you, Rusty. And he's going to be in here. Another gal that has only run on the main track. She's run 7 times, 2 for 7, 2 more exacta finishes as well. Jose Ortiz is here. She's outside with tactical speed. She'll probably be pressing Mystiful. Like I said, plenty of main track form in here. I think she's a major, major player on the surface switch. Wink for Wesley Ward, who Seth had on yesterday on Racing Across America. That was really cool to see and great to see him, stop over here on a Saturday morning. Wink has only run on turf, so maybe she comes out. I don't know, but she's by midshipman out of a Wildcat Air mare, so she's got main track pedigree. And again, this is a stakes race, and you don't get to run for 120,000 that often. So Wink, I would think, is a player for Stone Street who won that entry-level allowance with Steve Asmussen yesterday. And then Shop Girl, another MTO for Christoph. I'll mention her. She's probably going to run well in here because she is the MTO. But I like Mystiful quite a bit in here. 298 in the off the turf. We know that. Coronation Cup. It brings us to the finale here on a wet Sunday at Saratoga. Race 10 at 6:13 in the p.m. Fillies and mares 3 and up. As I mentioned, 6 furlongs. The tag is 20. Maiden claimers here on the main track. 9, 10, 7 for me. 9, 10 over the 7 if we want the one sheet. I don't really know this barn. Morning Cocktail for Tom Foley. I'm not familiar with this barn. This horse has run 1 time in the maiden special weight ranks at Tampa back in January, going 2 turns. Hasn't been seen since, but has been working for this. Small sample size, but the barn's 2 for 5 off this elongated layoff. Looks like that race was pretty good on debut. It was a distant 4th, but the winner ran off the screen that day. And sometimes you can overthink these things here at Saratoga. But the fact that this horse is here off this kind of layoff, in for 20, says to me she's going to run today and is going to run well because, again, I don't know this barn, but 7 for 47 on the year, very solid, 15%. There's a lot of spots for this gal to run, and here she is at Saratoga on July 18th. So I would think Morning Cocktail is going to fire today, and I don't think you're going to see 6-1 either. And David Aragona is as good a morning line maker as there is. I don't want to see this girl at 6-1. She's supposed to be betting here, and it wouldn't shock me at all if she takes a lot of money. Number 10, Before You for Bill Mott and Jose Ortiz. 4 starts in the maiden special weight ranks, so the drop here is seismic. She hasn't done a lot of running since Bill got her, but her best race was on the main track. 3 starts back in the mud at Aqueduct, so that bodes well for her. She was a distant 4th behind a very, very key race. The top 3 all returned to win their next start. So Before You was Jose Ortiz, 6-5 on the morning line. I get it. I get it. I mean, she's been dreadful in her last 2 starts. Yes, they were on turf, but I don't know. I think she will be favored. She probably should be. I'd be very, very leery of singling her at the end of these 4s and 5s to end the card. Shining Colors underneath for Robbie Falcone and Luis Saez. They do a very, very good job together. I mentioned Saez earlier. If you're not familiar with Robbie Falcone, he does a great job as well. Back-to-back seconds for this one in these kind of maiden claiming ranks. So she's a player as well. I'll go 9, 10, 7 to end the Handicappers Report here on Sunday. We'll take another break. When we come back, oh boy, I got a lot to talk about with Anthony Stabile and the DePaula play of the day, my Mets buddy in arms. We're going to have a lot to talk about. He'll give us a play of the day, though, when we come back here Sunday at Saratoga. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Albany County, an incredible destination to live, work, and play, with easy connections to more than a dozen cities from our vibrant modern airport. It's a short trip downtown to a hive of culture and amusement, from world-class shows at the newly renovated Times Union Center to reliving the past at the New York State Museum. From outdoor recreation to shopping to nightlife, Albany County has something for everyone. We'll see you soon.
Birdstone is an outside front. They're coming down to the finish. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes. In front, but here comes High Chaparral. High Chaparral, the defending champ, to take it to Bob. These two arch rivals head to head with Joe Hart bearing down on them. It's going to be a 3-horse photo finish to the turn. Here's the wire. Photo finish.
The Capital Region has some of the most sophisticated horse racing fans in the country. That's why Capital OTB built the Clubhouse Racebook. Here you can wager year-round on the best horse racing from around the world. The Clubhouse also has monthly promotions including live bankrolls, handicapping contests, and so much more. Like sports? Watch your favorite teams on more than 30 screens in Legends Field Sports Grill. Food, sports, and the excitement of championship horse racing. Only at the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
At DePaula, we think of our customers as family, so we want your experience here to be fair and easy. Whatever you drive, any make or model, DePaula is at your service with 100 bays and master technicians. So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs. At DePaula, we think of our customers as family, so we want your experience here to be fair and easy. Whatever you drive, any make or model, DePaula is at your service with 100 bays and master technicians. So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
It's post time for today's DePaula Play of the Day.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report. Brian Nadeau with you here on a wet Sunday morning at Saratoga. We got through the 10 race card and DePaula Play of the Day time now as we bring in Anthony Stabile of Naira, my disgruntled Mets fan, as I mentioned before the break. Man, it's hard being a Mets fan, isn't it, Anthony? I mean, my goodness, we are getting all the best of it now with Steve Cohen at the helm, but yikes, it's tough being a Mets fan on a Sunday morning here in Saratoga.
It's great practice for life, though, Brian, because you appreciate the little things and the small miracles in life, and kind of gets used to blowing 6-7 run leads to the worst teams in baseball. It is what it is.
The
They've got away
Pittsburgh
with
Pirates.
some proverbial murder on the diamond this year. Hopefully, they can sway until DeGrom and Lindor get healthy and come back.
All right. Well, let's give a winner out to our friends here at least. We'll try to mend the wounds here. I know you're going in race 4, and I am with you. Let's go with Honor Hop, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Philly broker maiden, going 1.25 miles at Churchill, 2 starts back on a sloppy track from just off the pace. These 1 1/8 races, they're fewer and further between than they used to be. So when you see these fillies that win at the elongated distance, the 1 1/8, 1.25 miles, I think they kind of carve out a little niche for themselves. There's some speed. Inside 2 fillies, Family Time, Misty Dale, both have a little speed. Bowie Timing, number 3, has some gas as well. So I'd imagine John Velasquez is going to get a good trip with Honor Hop. Like I said, she has a win on a sloppy track. I would say this track right now is muddy. Rain's mostly held off during the morning as we wrapped up mornings in Saratoga here at 9:30. And the track, like I said, looks muddy. But I would imagine Johnny's going to put her in a good stalking spot. 3-1 on the morning line. I would think it holds up. Tom Amos is Philly. The 2 Steve Dale coming off a good race against open allowance horses. I Fashion comes in for a streaking Rusty Arnold. Rusty's had a good year. I'll use those 2 horses. 3-1, 5-2. I like it on an opposite. Apollo playing today.
Yeah, and as you kind of alluded to, we going 9 on this main track. I talked about it in the middle of the show. I mean, you need to be close here. You don't want to drop out the back, or you need to have tactical speed because, as I kind of said, you wake up at 5 lengths behind on the far turn. You are not going to get there. I mean, you need to be close in these routes up here.
Yeah, she'll be in close enough range. And I think these races have become more of a grind. When she went the mile 3 starts back, probably unfolded a little too quickly for her. Doesn't really have that kind of turn of foot. Kind of filly that, if you watch her replays, she's going to kind of throw 12s and a halves at you. And I think in a race like this, where there is some speed in here, she's able to sit 2, 3, 4 lengths off the lead. And like you said, I don't think she'll be out the back of the 3/8 ball. I think she'll be in close enough proximity to kind of pick these horses up late.
All right, Anthony Stabile with the DePaula play of the day. Anthony, always a pleasure. We'll catch up with you soon. Good luck today on Stay Dry as well. There you see it, Honor Hop with the DePaula play of the day. Anthony, take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Let's go Mets. Talk to you soon, Brian.
Sounds good. All right, that's going to wrap it here Sunday on the Handicappers Report. Again, we're off the turf. As Anthony said, he thinks it's probably going to be a muddy main track. It'll be sloppy, muddy, some way, shape, or form. We do know we're off the turf on the 10-race card today. Like I said, that's going to wrap it here Sunday on the Handicappers Report. Brian Nadeau with you. I'll check back on Twitter and the website. We'll update all those one-sheet selections and all that kind of good stuff. So, best of luck here today at Saratoga. See you soon.
You've been watching the Handicappers Report. The Handicappers Report has been brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. The new Capital OTB wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with the new Capital OTB wagering platform. And CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State.